Navigating Difficult Conversations with Grace and Calm by Milos Grish. The Art of Staying Centered. Life often presents us with the challenge of communicating with individuals who test our patience and disrupt our sense of calm. These may be people who boast incessantly, speak with authority on topics or express views that clash deeply with our own. Whether in professional settings, social circles, or even family gatherings, avoiding such interactions is not always possible. But while you may not control their behavior, you can control your response, and therein lies the key to effective and harmonious communication. Conversations often stir strong emotions, such as frustration, irritation, or even anger. These emotions can cloud judgment, lead to unnecessary arguments, and ultimately leave you feeling drained and dissatisfied. When faced with challenging personalities, it is easy to fall into a reactive mode where you either escalate the tension or violence, suppressing your true feelings. Neither approach fosters inner peace nor resolves the underlying discomfort of the interaction. This book offers a third path, the art of staying centered. By mastering specific techniques and strategies, you can learn to engage with difficult people in a way that protects your emotional while maintaining respect and dignity in your interactions. The goal is not to avoid or change such individuals, but to transform the way you navigate these encounters, turning potential stress into an opportunity for growth and self-mastery. Inner peace is your greatest asset in challenging conversations. Remain composed, think clearly, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Maintaining this state requires both self-awareness and practice. This book will guide you through practical methods for cultivating calm, from managing your emotional responses to setting the tone for constructive dialogue. Skills, you can reduce the likelihood of conflict, safeguard your mental health, and even improve your relationships with people you find difficult. Resilience is another crucial skill this book will help you develop. Resilience is not just the ability to endure unpleasant interactions, but the capacity to approach them and adaptability. By understanding the motivations and behaviors of difficult people, you can depersonalize their actions and respond with empathy or neutrality. This shift in perspective will empower you to handle even the most challenging personalities with grace and ease. Finally, tactful communication is at the heart of difficult conversations. This book will teach you how to use language and nonverbal cues to diffuse tension, redirect conversations, and create an environment of mutual respect. Whether it's choosing the right words to avoid an argument or using body language to signal calmness, these tools will enable you to step in a positive direction. By the end of this book, you will have a comprehensive toolkit for dealing with difficult people, not through avoidance or confrontation, but through understanding, composure, and skillful communication. You will learn how to protect your peace, reduce stress, and transform challenging encounters for personal growth. The art of staying centered is not just a way to navigate difficult conversations. It is a path to greater emotional freedom and harmony in all areas of life. Chapter 1. Understanding Difficult Personalities. The first step to navigating challenging interactions is understanding the person often make these encounters difficult. Difficult individuals typically exhibit traits such as boasting, ignorance, and overconfidence. While these behaviors can be frustrating, they often stem from deeper, underlying issues that may not be immediately apparent. Boasting, for instance, is frequently rooted in insecurity. Constantly talk about their achievements or exaggerate their abilities, are often seeking validation or attempting to mask feelings of inadequacy. Ignorance, particularly when paired with a refusal to acknowledge it, can arise from a lack of self-awareness or a desire to appear knowledgeable and competent. Overconfidence, on the other, is a defense mechanism designed to protect a fragile ego or assert dominance in social situations. Recognizing these patterns can help you depersonalize the behavior. Instead of feeling attacked or annoyed, you can begin to see these actions as reflections of the other person's internal struggles. This perspective doesn't appear, but provides a framework for understanding it, which is essential for responding with empathy rather than irritation. Cultivating empathy is a powerful tool in managing difficult personalities. Empathy allows you to see beyond the surface and acknowledge the humanity behind the behavior. However, it is crucial to between empathy and boundaries. Understanding someone's motivations doesn't mean you have to condone their actions or tolerate mistreatment. Instead, empathy can guide you in responding thoughtfully, choosing words and actions that diffuse tension rather than escalate it. One way to practice empathy is by asking about the other person's perspective. What might they be feeling? What experiences could have shaped their behavior? While you may not have definitive answers, this exercise can shift your focus from frustration to curiosity, helping you maintain a calmer and more composed demeanor. This chapter aims to equip you with the insights to identify and understand challenging behaviors. By recognizing the motivations behind boasting, ignorance, and overconfidence, and by cultivating empathy without condoning negative actions, you can lay the foundation for more constructive and less stressful interactions. Understanding difficult personalities is not about changing how you perceive and respond to them, a critical step in mastering the art of staying centered. Chapter 2. Mastering your emotional response. Once you understand the behaviors and motivations of difficult individuals, the next step is to focus inward and examine your own emotional responses. Challenges often provoke strong emotions, such as irritation, frustration, or even anger. Mastering your emotional response requires self-awareness and a set of tools to navigate these feelings effectively. The first step is identifying your triggers. Triggers are specific actions, words, or behaviors that evoke a strong emotion in you. Perhaps it's someone's condescending tone, persistent interruptions, or dismissive attitude. By pinpointing what sets you off, you can begin to recognize patterns in your emotional responses and prepare yourself to manage them. Journaling or reflecting on past interactions can be a useful way to uncover these triggers and understand. Once you've identified your triggers, the next step is practicing self-regulation. Self-regulation is the ability to manage your emotions in the moment, maintaining a sense of calm and control. Several techniques can help you achieve this. 1. Mindfulness. Being present in the moment allows thoughts and emotions without judgment. When you feel irritation rising, take a moment to pause and focus on your breathing. This simple act of mindfulness can prevent you from reacting impulsively and give you the space to choose a measured response. 2. Breathing exercises. Deep, intentional breathing is one of the ways to calm your nervous system. Try the 4-7-8 technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds. This practice not only reduces stress, but also enhances your ability to stay composed during difficult conversations. 3. Mental reframing. Reframing perspective on a situation. Instead of seeing a challenging person as an adversary, try to view them as an opportunity for personal growth or a puzzle to solve. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this interaction? Or how can I respond in a way that aligns with my values? This shift in mindset can transform irritation into curiosity. Another crucial element of mastering your emotional response is redirecting your focus. When confronted with behaviors that annoy or upset you, it's easy to dwell on what's wrong with the other person. Instead, try to shift your attention to understanding their perspective or identifying what you can control in the situation. This reduces the power of negative emotions and helps you maintain a sense of agency. Finally, remember that emotional mastery is a skill that requires practice. Be patient with yourself as you learn to manage your responses more effectively. Each challenging conversation is an opportunity to refine your techniques and grow in emotion. In this chapter, you've learned how to identify your emotional triggers, practice self-regulation through mindfulness, breathing, and reframing, and shift your focus from irritation to curiosity. These tools will not only help you navigate difficult interactions, but also strengthen your overall emotional intelligence, allowing you to approach life's challenges with greater composure and confidence. Chapter 3. Setting the tone of the conversation. The way you approach a conversation sets the stage for how it will unfold. Difficult individuals often bring tension or negativity into interactions, but you have the power to counteract this by setting a tone of calm and neutrality. By using deliberate body language techniques to de-escalate situations and reinforcing positive communication patterns, you can steer conversations toward a more constructive outcome. The power of calm and neutral body language. Nonverbal communication plays a significant role in shaping the dynamics of a conversation. Your posture, facial expressions, and gestures can openness, or conversely, defensiveness and hostility. To set a neutral tone, practice the following. 1. Maintain an open posture. Avoid crossing your arms or leaning away, as these can signal disinterest or defensiveness. Instead, keep your body relaxed and slightly angled toward the other person. 2. Eye contact. Avoid staring, which can feel confrontational, but don't look away excessively, as this can indicate discomfort or disinterest. A gentle, steady gaze conveys attentiveness and respect. 3. Control facial expressions. Even if you feel annoyed, keep your face neutral or slightly positive. Avoid rolling your eyes, signs of irritation. By maintaining calm and neutral body language, you signal to the other person that you are open to communication and not looking for conflict. This can help diffuse tension and create a more cooperative atmosphere. Techniques to de-escalate tense situations. When conversations become heated or tense, to have strategies for de-escalation. These techniques can help you maintain control and prevent the situation from spiraling into conflict. 1. Lower your voice. Speaking in a calm and measured tone can have a soothing effect on the other person. It signals that you are not reacting emotionally and can encourage them to mirror your composure. 2. Acknowledge their feelings. People often escalate when they feel unheard. A simple acknowledgement, such as, "I understand that this is important to you," can help diffuse their frustration. 3. Pause before responding. Silence can be a powerful tool. It gives both you and the other person a moment to reflect before continuing the conversation. Using positive reinforcement to steer conversations constructively. One of the most effective ways to encourage positive communication is through reinforcement. By acknowledging and rewarding constructive behaviors, you can subtly guide the tone and direction of the conversation. For example, 1. Appreciation. When the other person makes a valid point or shows a willingness to engage constructively, acknowledge it. Phrases like, "That's a good point," or "I appreciate your perspective," can encourage more of the same behavior. 2. Redirect negativity. If the conversation takes a negative turn, gently more productive path. For instance, you might say, "I see where you're coming from. Let's focus on finding a solution." 3. Model positive language. Choose your words carefully to set an example of respectful communication. Avoid inflammatory phrases or accusations, and instead use language that promotes understanding and clarity. By consciously setting the tone of your conversations, you can mitigate tension and create an environment conducive to productive dialogue. Whether through body language, de-escalation techniques, or positive reinforcement, these strategies will empower you to steer interactions with difficult people toward more positive outcomes. Redirecting conversations. Tactfully. Conversations with difficult individuals often veer into uncomfortable or unproductive territories. Redirecting such discussions tactfully requires a combination of diplomacy, creativity, and attentiveness. This chapter explores strategies to guide conversations back to constructive path, using humor to lighten the mood and employing active listening to steer dialogue effectively. Changing the topic without offending. Shifting the focus of a conversation can be delicate. The key is to transition smoothly while ensuring the other person feels heard and respected. Consider these techniques. 1. Before redirecting. Before changing the subject, validate the other person's input. For instance, say, "That's an interesting point. It reminds me of something I wanted to discuss." This approach demonstrates that you're paying attention while steering the conversation in a new direction. 2. Find common ground. Transited topic can make the shift feel natural. If someone is discussing a controversial opinion about a current event, you might respond, "That's an intriguing perspective. Speaking of current events, did you hear about?" 3. Use bridge phrases. Phrases like "on a different note" or "that reminds me" signal a shift without abrupt. These subtle cues help redirect focus while maintaining a conversational flow. Using humor and lighthearted comments to deflect humor is a powerful tool for diffusing tension and redirecting conversations. Lighthearted remarks can change the tone of an interaction, making it easier to steer the dialogue. 1. Inject playfulness. Conversation becomes too intense or negative. A playful comment can help lighten the mood. For example, if someone is excessively critical, you might say with a smile, "Wow, you're on a roll today. Are you taking requests? Or 2. Self-deprecating humor. Making a light joke about yourself can shift attention away from the contention. For instance, if someone's boasting feels overbearing, you might quip, "I'll take notes. Clearly, I've been doing it all wrong." 3. Deflect with wit. Redirect the conversation with a humorous question or comment that introduces a new subject. If someone insists on discussing a topic you'd rather avoid, you might say, "Speaking of band, did you see that latest gadget release?" Practicing active listening to steer dialogue. Active listening is not just about hearing the other person, but engaging in a way that subtly guides the conversation. 1. Reflect and redirect. Paraphrase what the person has said to show understanding, then gently. For example, "It sounds like you're passionate about this. What do you think about applying that energy to?" 2. Ask open-ended questions. Questions that require thoughtful responses can shift the conversation's trajectory. If someone's discussion is spiraling negatively, you might ask, "What do you think would be the best solution?" 3. Focus on positives. Highlight positive aspects of the topic to guide the conversation into more constructive territory. For example, "I see your point about the challenges. What do you think are some of the opportunities here?" Combining techniques for seamless redirection. The motivational redirection often combines these strategies. For instance, you might start by acknowledging the other person's perspective, then use a humorous comment to diffuse tension, and finally pose an open-ended question to shift focus. Practicing these techniques will help you feel more confident and adept at navigating challenging conflicts. By mastering the art of tactful redirection, you can steer interactions away from conflict or discomfort while maintaining respect and connection. These skills not only enhance your communication, but also contribute to a more harmonious and productive exchange with even the most difficult individuals. Chapter 5. Agreeing to disagree. Disagreements are a natural part of human interaction, especially when we encounter people with viewpoints vastly different from our own. However, learning how to handle these situations with grace is a skill that can significantly improve our communication, reduce stress, and help of mind in challenging conversations. One of the most valuable techniques in this area is the art of agreeing to disagree, the art of gracefully acknowledging differing opinions. When you encounter someone with a contrasting viewpoint, acknowledging their perspective respectfully without necessarily agreeing is key. A simple approach is to validate their feelings or stance. This can be done by saying something like, "I see where you're coming from," or "I understand your point of view, even though I feel differently." Such statements show empathy and recognition of the other person's perspective, which can diffuse tension. By refraining from immediately or contradicting someone, you give yourself and the other person space to hold differing opinions without the conversation escalating into a confrontation. This approach fosters mutual respect, as both parties feel heard, even if the disagreement remains unresolved. Techniques to avoid unnecessary debate. One of the primary sources of stress during disagreements is the temptation to win the argument. We may feel compelled to prove ourselves right, especially when emotions are involved. However, engaging in power struggles rarely leads to productive outcomes. Here are a few techniques to help you avoid unnecessary debates. Calm and composed. When you sense the conversation turning into a debate, pause and take a deep breath. Your tone and body language should remain neutral to avoid feeding the conflict. If needed, give yourself a moment to regain composure. 2. Focus on shared values. If possible, try to steer the conversation towards common. For example, if you disagree on a political issue, emphasize shared values like the importance of fairness or equality. This can help you both feel that you're working towards the same goal, even if your methods differ. 3. Set boundaries. If the conversation is becoming too heated or personal, it's okay to set boundaries. For example, "I respect your opinion, but I don't think we're going to agree on this, and I don't want us to argue about it," is a polite way to draw a line and prevent further escalation. 4. Ask open-ended questions. Instead of directly challenging someone's opinion, ask them to elaborate on their thoughts. Questions like, "What conclusion?" or "How did you come to that perspective?" can open up a deeper dialogue without directly opposing their stance. How to end a disagreement without resentment. Ending a disagreement on a positive note is essential for maintaining healthy relationships, especially when it's clear that resolution isn't possible in the moment. Several strategies to end disagreements without harboring resentment. 1. Agree to disagree. Once you've acknowledged the differences and both parties have had their say, simply express that it's okay not to agree. "We may see this differently, and that's fine," can signal closure without hard feelings. 2. For the conversation. Regardless of the disagreement, thank the person for their input and the discussion. This shows maturity and emotional intelligence. A statement like, "I appreciate you sharing your perspective, even though I don't share it," can go a long way in preserving goodwill. 3. Shift focus to the relationship and yourself, that the disagreement doesn't change your respect or care for them. "I'm glad we can talk openly, and I respect our differences," reinforces that the relationship is more important than any single issue. 4. Avoid lingering negativity. If you feel frustrated or upset, it's essential not to carry to the next interaction. Take a moment to process the conversation on your own, perhaps through journaling or meditative reflection, so that you don't unintentionally carry the weight of the disagreement into future exchanges. By practicing these techniques, you can navigate difficult conversations with confidence and maintain, even when you find yourself at odds with others. The key lies in staying grounded, respecting differing opinions, and knowing when to let go and move on, all while keeping your relationships intact. Chapter 6. Building mental boundaries. In a world where we're constantly interacting with others, whether in line or through various forms of communication, maintaining mental peace can be a challenge. One of the most effective ways to protect your inner calm is by establishing mental boundaries. These boundaries act as an invisible barrier that keeps negative energy, stress, and unnecessary emotional turmoil at bay. In this chapter, techniques for building these mental boundaries, visualizing a mental buffer, understanding control in conversations, and practicing detachment from others' opinions and behaviors. Visualizing a mental buffer to protect your peace. A powerful technique for protecting your mental space is to visualize a mental buffer field around you. This visualization serves as a tool to separate your thoughts, emotions, and energy from those of others. Here's how you can do it. 1. Create the buffer. Close your eyes and imagine an impenetrable wall or shield surrounding you. This barrier is not rigid or hostile, but soft yet protective, a translucent layer that allows you to feel and respond to others but prevents their negativity, judgment, or stress from entering your personal space. 2. Set intentions. Before entering a potentially stressful or uncomfortable conversation, remind yourself of the boundary you've set. Tell yourself, "I am protected by my mental buffer, not absorb negative energy." This sets a clear intention and strengthens your mental shield. 3. Reinforce the buffer. If you feel your peace slipping during a conversation, take a moment to mentally reinforce your shield. Imagine it growing stronger, thicker, or brighter in response to the stress or negativity you're in. This visualization acts as a reminder that you have the power to control your emotional space. Understanding what you can and cannot control in conversations. One of the keys to maintaining mental boundaries is knowing what is within your control and what is not. Many times, we become stressed or upset because we try to control conversations that are beyond our influence. Here's how to differentiate between the two. 1. What you can control. Your response. You can control how you react to someone else's words or actions. You have the ability to choose whether you respond with patience, understanding, or calm, or if you decide to disengage. Your emotions. While you may feel triggered by someone's words, you can control how much emotional weight you attach to them. You can choose to let go of any lingering negativity after the conversation ends. Your boundaries. You can decide when and how to set boundaries in a conversation. If something feels uncomfortable for you, you can assert your limits with calm and respect. 2. What you cannot control. Others' reactions. You cannot control how others will respond or how they will interpret your words. Their emotions, attitudes, and behaviors are outside of your control. Their opinions or beliefs. While you may try to influence, you cannot force them to think or believe differently. Their opinions are theirs to hold, just as your beliefs are yours. External circumstances. The context of a conversation, such as external stress or the person's mood, is something you cannot control. What you can control is how you navigate these circumstances. By acknowledging what is within your power and what is not, you can release unnecessary pressure to control outcomes, making your conversations less stressful and more productive. Practicing detachment from others' opinions and behaviors. One of the most powerful tools for building mental boundaries is detachment, the ability to from others' opinions and behaviors. Detaching doesn't mean withdrawing from relationships or becoming indifferent. Rather, it means not letting others' judgments or actions dictate your emotional state. Here's how you can practice detachment. 1. Shift your focus inward. When you find yourself reacting to someone else's behavior, take a moment to shift your focus inward. Remind yourself of your core values, your identity, and what truly matters to you. This helps ground you in your own sense of self, rather than becoming enmeshed in the other person's perspective. 2. View opinions as neutral. Recognize that other people's opinions are just that. They are not facts, and they do not define you. When someone expresses a judgment or criticism, remind yourself that it is a reflection of their worldview, not your worth. 3. Don't take things personally. One of the most common traps in conversations, especially with people you dislike or disagree with, is taking their behavior personally, reminding yourself that what others say or do is often more about them than it is about you. This perspective frees you from unnecessary emotional entanglement. 4. Let go of the need for validation. We often seek approval or validation from others, which can leave us vulnerable to their opinions. Practice the need for external validation by affirming your own worth and trusting in your own judgment. 5. Accept imperfection. Understand that no one is perfect, and neither are you. Conversations are an opportunity for growth, but not every interaction will go smoothly or meet all of your expectations. Practicing detachment helps you accept the imperfections of both others and yourself, allowing you to move forward. Building mental boundaries through visualization, understanding control, and practicing detachment creates a strong foundation for maintaining peace and emotional resilience. By applying these principles, you will become less affected by external influences and more able to navigate challenging conversations with self-assurance. Chapter 7. Choosing the right words. The words we use in conversations can significantly influence the direction and tone of the interaction, especially when communicating with people we find difficult or unpleasant. Choosing the right language is essential to maintaining peace and reducing tension. Chapter. We will explore techniques for using non-confrontational language, how to show understanding without necessarily agreeing, and how to tactfully challenge misinformation or boastful claims. Using non-confrontational language to diffuse tension. One of the most effective ways to handle difficult conversations is that minimizes defensiveness and helps diffuse tension. Non-confrontational language creates an atmosphere of respect and calm, rather than one of hostility or escalation. Here's how you can apply it. 1. Use I statements. Instead of making accusatory statements that start with you, e.g., you always use I statements to express your feelings without blaming the other person. For example, say, I feel frustrated when I'm not able to finish my point. This shifts the focus from their behavior to how it affects you, making it less likely to provoke defensiveness. 2. Acknowledge emotions. When tension rises, it's helpful the emotions involved. A phrase like, I can see this is a sensitive topic for both of us, helps to recognize the emotions in play without escalating the situation. It shows that you are aware of the feelings around the conversation and are not dismissing them. 3. Stay calm and neutral. Keep your tone even and calm other person's behavior. By controlling your tone, you send a message that you are not being swept up in the emotion of the moment. Phrases such as, I understand you feel strongly about this, allow you to remain neutral while still engaging with the other person's viewpoint. 4. Avoid inflammatory language. Words that are aggressive can quickly escalate tensions. Avoid terms that blame, judge, or accuse. Instead, try to use language that fosters dialogue, such as, let's try to find some common ground, or I understand that this issue is important to you. Phrases that show understanding without necessarily agreeing. It's respect and understanding without giving up your own position or agreeing with everything the other person says. Here are some phrases that allow you to validate the other person's perspective while maintaining your own stance. 1. I can see why you'd feel that way. This phrase shows that you acknowledge the other person's feelings, but it doesn't mean you agree. It opens the door for further conversation without confrontation. 2. That's an interesting perspective. By acknowledging the other person's viewpoint as interesting, you validate their opinion while leaving room for your own beliefs. This phrase shows curiosity and respect, even if you don't. 3. I understand where you're coming from. This phrase demonstrates empathy without giving up your own perspective. It lets the other person know they've been heard, which can be incredibly disarming, especially when emotions are high. 4. I don't agree, but I appreciate your thoughts. Polite while asserting your position, this phrase works well. It acknowledges the other person's input while clearly communicating that you hold a different view. 5. I hear what you're saying. This simple phrase communicates that you've listened, even if you don't share the same view. It can help ease tension and share the person's words. How to tactfully challenge misinformation or boastful claims. At times, you may encounter misinformation or boastful claims that challenge your values or knowledge. How you respond can greatly affect the outcome of the conversation. Here's how to tactfully handle these situations. 1. Ask. Instead of directly confronting misinformation, ask open-ended questions that encourage the other person to think critically about their statements. For example, if someone makes a boastful claim, ask, what led you to that conclusion? Or, can you tell me more about how you came to that perspective? This invites reflection without directly challenging their. 2. Introduce facts calmly. If you need to correct misinformation, do so with humility and neutrality. Instead of saying, that's wrong, try something like, actually, I've read that insert fact. It may be different from what you've heard, but I thought I'd share it. This approach avoids a confrontational tone while presenting effective. 3. Use I instead of you. When responding to boastful claims, it's important to avoid sounding accusatory or dismissive. Instead of saying, you're exaggerating, try, I've had different experiences, and I've seen it a little differently. This approach keeps the conversation neutral and avoids triggering. 4. Find common ground. If someone is boasting or making exaggerated claims, try to find some common ground on which you can both agree. For instance, you might say, we both seem to agree that success is important. I just think the path to it can vary. By redirecting the conversation towards shared values, the boastful tone while staying respectful. 5. Keep your response brief. Sometimes it's best to offer a short, factual correction and move on. When dealing with misinformation or boastful claims, giving lengthy counter-arguments can prolong the disagreement. A simple, clear response like, I see it differently, without escalating the situation. By choosing your words carefully, you can manage difficult conversations with greater ease and control. Non-confrontational language, phrases that show understanding, and tactfully challenging misinformation or boastful claims all help create an atmosphere of respect and dialogue, conflict and stress. Ultimately, the way you express yourself can either de-escalate or intensify the tension, and by mastering these techniques, you'll be able to communicate more effectively, even in challenging situations. Chapter 8. Managing Social Situations with Challenging Individuals. Social gatherings, get-togethers, work events, or family celebrations often bring together a diverse range of personalities. Among these, there are sometimes individuals whose behavior or attitudes may challenge your peace and comfort. Navigating group dynamics with such individuals requires a blend of self-awareness, tact, and the ability to assert without causing unnecessary conflict. In this chapter, we will explore strategies for managing social situations with challenging individuals, balancing inclusivity with your own well-being, and knowing when and how to politely excuse yourself. How to navigate group dynamics when such individuals are present. Group dynamics when difficult personalities are involved. The key is to stay grounded, remain composed, and understand the influence that these individuals may have on the group. Number 1. Stay neutral and avoid taking sides. If a challenging individual begins to dominate the conversation or stir conflict within the group, It's essential to remain neutral, getting drawn into arguments or taking sides, as this can escalate tension. Instead, focus on facilitating a positive atmosphere by redirecting conversations or gently steering them away from controversial topics. 2. Be mindful of group energy. In group settings, people often feed off each other's energy. Challenging individuals starts creating tension. Pay attention to the emotional temperature of the room and adjust your behavior accordingly. If the group becomes overly tense or uncomfortable, you might subtly shift the focus of conversation to a lighter or neutral topic, helping to reset the mood. 3. Use group dynamics. Sometimes, a challenging individual can dominate a group, causing others to retreat or remain silent. If you notice this happening, step in to encourage more balanced participation. You can do this by directly engaging quieter individuals or redirecting the conversation to involve everyone, thus diffusing the power dynamic. 4. Set boundaries with respect. If the individual's behavior is affecting the group negatively, it's important to assert your own boundaries. You can do this subtly, such as by steering the conversation away from personal topics or by calmly addressing the behavior in a way that doesn't escalate the situation. For example, let's all take a moment to hear everyone's perspective, can politely bring balance back to the conversation without confrontation. Balancing inclusivity and maintaining personal comfort. Being inclusive in social situations is important, but it shouldn't come at the expense of your own comfort or peace of mind. Finding a balance between being open to others and protecting your mental space is key to maintaining your well-being in challenging social environments. Assess the situation before engaging. When entering a social situation, take a moment to assess the environment and the individuals involved. If you know a challenging person will be present, mentally prepare yourself for the possibility of uncomfortable interactions. This way, you won't be caught off guard and will feel more in control of how. 2. Maintain your boundaries without isolating yourself. Being inclusive doesn't mean sacrificing your comfort. If someone starts dominating the conversation or making you feel uneasy, it's okay to politely disengage or steer the conversation in a different direction. At the same time, retreat entirely from the group. Engage in a way that feels comfortable for you, whether that's by listening, offering neutral responses, or joining in on lighter topics. 3. Use body language to signal comfort or discomfort. Body language is a powerful tool in managing social situations. If you're feeling uncomfortable to engage with a challenging individual, subtle body language cues such as crossing your arms, turning slightly away, or avoiding prolonged eye contact can signal that you're not interested in further interaction. Conversely, if you want to remain inclusive, keeping an open posture, nodding, and maintaining eye contact shows, but still maintaining your personal boundaries. 4. Find allies within the group. If you're in a social situation where a challenging person is causing discomfort, it's often helpful to find others in the group who share your perspective. Subtly joining forces with like-minded individuals can help diffuse tension and make more balanced. By subtly reinforcing each other's boundaries and perspectives, you create a more supportive environment for yourself and others. When and how to politely excuse yourself. There are times when, despite your best efforts, a social situation becomes too uncomfortable or challenging to navigate. It's appropriate to excuse yourself and how to do so without causing offense or tension. Here's how to do it gracefully. 1. Recognize the signs that it's time to leave. If you begin to feel drained, uncomfortable, or irritated by the interactions, it may be time to step away. Trust your instincts. If you feel beyond your control or negatively impacting your well-being, excusing yourself is a responsible choice. 2. Keep it polite and respectful. When excusing yourself, it's essential to be polite and considerate. You don't need to provide elaborate reasons for leaving, but you can offer a simple, respectful explanation. I've enjoyed talking with you all, but I'm going to head out now. Have a great rest of your evening, is a gracious way to exit without offending anyone. 3. Use an exit strategy. If you need to leave but don't want to cause any awkwardness, prepare a quick exit strategy. You might say, I'm going to grab some fresh air for a moment. I've got an early start tomorrow, so I'm going to head out now. These simple phrases provide a reason for your departure without putting the focus on the discomfort or tension that may have been present. 4. Leave quietly if necessary. If the situation is particularly tense or challenging, and you feel that any attempt to yourself might make things worse, it's okay to leave quietly. Sometimes, a brief farewell is all you need. Simply nodding or offering a quick goodbye can be enough to exit without drawing attention to the discomfort. 5. Reaffirm your boundaries for future interactions. If you've excused yourself from a social setting, a challenging individual, consider taking time afterward to reflect on your boundaries. If you feel it's necessary, politely reiterate your boundaries for future interactions. For example, I enjoy our time together, but I prefer more neutral topics of conversation. Helps to communicate your preferences and protect your peace in future gatherings. In social situations with challenging individuals, the key to managing the dynamics is finding a balance between inclusivity and self-care. By staying mindful of group energy, engaging with respect, and knowing when to excuse yourself, you can navigate these situations with confidence and maintain your personal comfort without conflict. Chapter 9. Reflecting and recharging. After navigating challenging conversations, it's essential to give yourself time and space to reflect and recharge. The emotional toll of difficult interactions can linger long after the conversation has ended, impacting your mood, mindset, and overall. This chapter will explore the importance of post-conversation reflection, techniques for releasing lingering frustration through journaling or meditation, and how to build long-term habits for maintaining inner peace. The importance of post-conversation reflection. Reflecting on a challenging conversation allows you to process your emotions, identify what went well, and recognize areas for growth. Without this reflection, you might carry unresolved tension, leading to ongoing stress and resentment. Here's why taking time to reflect is crucial. 1. Understanding your emotional reactions. After a difficult conversation, it's essential to check in. Ask yourself, how did I feel during and after the conversation? Recognizing and acknowledging your emotions can help you understand why certain exchanges triggered frustration or discomfort. By identifying emotional patterns, you can learn to manage them more effectively in the future. 2. Evaluating your communication strategies also allows you to assess how well you handled the conversation. Did you stay calm? Did you communicate your boundaries effectively? Were there moments when you could have handled things differently? Evaluating your own actions helps to build self-awareness and improve your communication skills for future interactions. Letting go of what you can't control. Sometimes conversations with difficult individuals may leave you feeling like you didn't achieve the desired outcome or that the conversation didn't go as planned. Reflecting helps you accept that not all interactions will resolve perfectly, and it's okay to let go of things you cannot control. Shift helps you avoid lingering in frustration or regret. Journaling or meditating to release lingering frustration. Once you've taken time to reflect on the conversation, the next step is releasing any lingering frustration or negative emotions that may have built up. Journaling and meditation are powerful tools to help let go of those feelings. 1. Journaling for emotional release. Writing down your thoughts and feelings after a difficult conversation can serve as an emotional release. Start by writing about the experience itself, what happened, how you felt, and what you would have liked to change. Then, express any remaining resolved emotions. Writing can help you externalize these feelings, making them easier to release and move beyond. Journaling also provides a record of your growth over time, showing how you handled difficult interactions and how you learn from them. Tip, try using prompts such as, what did I learn from this conversation? Or respond differently next time. These prompts guide you to reflect constructively rather than just venting frustration. 2. Meditation to clear your mind. Meditation is an excellent way to calm your mind and detach from the emotions surrounding a challenging conversation. Practicing mindfulness or guided meditation from the intensity of the moment and return to a state of calm and clarity. A simple practice might involve closing your eyes, focusing on your breath, and letting go of any lingering tension in your body. With consistent practice, meditation can help you build emotional resilience, making it easier to approach future difficult conversations and peace. Tip, start with short, 5 to 10 minute meditation sessions after a conversation to release stress. Use apps or videos that guide you through mindfulness practices to help clear your mind and center yourself. 3. Breathing exercises for instant relief. In moments of heightened stress, deep breathing exercises can provide immediate relief. Try inhaling for a count of 4, holding your breath for 4, and then exhaling slowly for 4. Repeat this cycle for a few minutes to activate your body's relaxation response. This simple technique helps to lower stress levels and calm your mind, allowing you to process emotions with more clarity. Building long-term habits for maintaining inner peace. The more you practice self-reflection and emotional release, the easier it becomes to maintain your inner peace over time. Building long-term habits that promote mental and emotional well-being is essential for navigating difficult conversations and managing stress in general. Cultivate a peaceful mindset. 1. Daily mindfulness practice. To maintain inner peace, incorporate mindfulness practices into your daily routine. This can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to pause, breathe, and center yourself. Mindfulness helps you stay present and reduces the tendency to ruminate on. Over time, it fosters emotional resilience, enabling you to respond calmly and thoughtfully in any situation. 2. Setting boundaries regularly. Practicing boundary setting consistently ensures that you protect your mental space in all interactions, not just during challenging conversations. Checking in with yourself about your needs and limits, you prevent frustration from building up in the first place. You'll feel more confident in your ability to communicate assertively and protect your well-being, leading to healthier interactions overall. 3. Engaging in self-care. Prioritize activities that nurture your physical and mental health. Exercise, hobbies, social connections, and time for relaxation all contribute to your overall sense of well-being. When you feel replenished and balanced, you're better equipped to manage stress and approach difficult situations with a calm, centered mindset. 4. Practice gratitude. Regularly practicing gratitude shifts your focus from what went wrong in a conversation to what is going right in your life. After a challenging interaction, take a moment to reflect on the positive aspects of your day, your achievements, and the people who support you. Gratitude helps cultivate a positive mindset, which makes it easier to handle difficult situations and less emotional turmoil. 5. Learn from experience. With every challenging interaction, reflect on what you've learned. How can you approach the next conversation with more patience, understanding, or clarity? Over time, these reflections will build your emotional intelligence and strengthen your ability to stay calm no matter what situations arise, walking away stronger and wiser. As we reach the conclusion of this book, it's important to reflect on the key strategies and practices we've discussed and how they can be integrated into your daily life. Handling difficult conversations with individuals you may find challenging requires ongoing reflection, practice, and patience. It's not about perfection, but about progress in developing the emotional intelligence and resilience necessary to navigate these situations with grace and inner peace. In this final section, we will recap the essential strategies covered, provide insight, incorporate them into your daily interactions, and encourage you to approach every interaction as an opportunity to practice calmness and compassion. How to integrate these skills into daily life. The key to making these strategies effective lies in integrating them into your daily life and routine. They are not one-time solutions, but be used consistently to improve your interactions and overall emotional well-being. 1. Start small. Begin by practicing one strategy at a time. For instance, you might focus on improving your communication by choosing your words carefully in a difficult conversation. Or you might start with small mental exercise boundaries when engaging with challenging individuals. By incorporating one strategy at a time, you'll gradually build a strong foundation for handling any conversation with more ease. 2. Create daily reflection habits. Take time at the end of each day to reflect on your interactions. Whether through journaling, meditating, reviewing your day, this practice allows you to evaluate what worked, what didn't, and what you can improve. The more you engage in self-reflection, the more effective you'll become at recognizing patterns and adjusting your approach in future conversations. 3. Mindful practice. Incorporate mindfulness even in the smallest of moments. Whether it's taking a few deep breaths before responding to a difficult comment or checking in with yourself before engaging in a conversation, mindfulness allows you to stay grounded and present. With time, this practice will help you navigate challenging situations with greater calm and awareness. Make peace a habit. Every conversation, whether difficult or easy, is an opportunity to practice inner peace. As you become more adept at handling these conversations, you'll find that maintaining calmness and compassion becomes second nature. Your responses will become more thoughtful, and you'll feel more confident in your ability to challenging individuals. Encouragement to approach every interaction as a chance to practice calmness and compassion. In closing, I want to encourage you to view every interaction, no matter how challenging, as an opportunity for growth. Each conversation you have, especially with those you find difficult, chance to practice your communication skills, reinforce your boundaries, and demonstrate your ability to remain calm and compassionate. It's important to remember that you don't have to be perfect. Difficult people and situations are a part of life, and you will occasionally feel frustrated, upset, or even powerless. However, strategies outlined in this book, you can begin to approach every interaction with a mindset of curiosity and compassion, rather than defensiveness or frustration. Over time, these practices will help you feel stronger, more resilient, and more at peace with yourself and others. Ultimately, it's about progress, not perfection. You walk away with new insights, new strategies, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Keep practicing, and trust that with time and dedication, you'll become even better at navigating difficult interactions with grace, confidence, and inner peace. You are stronger and wiser with each challenge. And by continuing conversations with a peaceful heart, you'll create a more fulfilling and harmonious existence. The end. If you enjoyed this audiobook, we kindly invite you to leave a positive comment or a like, as it greatly supports our channel. Explore more inspiring audiobooks on our YouTube channel, Wellbeing Audiobooks. We are doing content that empowers people to live prosperous and fulfilling lives.